Welcome to part 6 of Let's Play Donkey Kong Country, and I hate this level, hate this level, hate this level, hate. Let's try that again. I do not like this level. It is the boring ass real track level from the last world, except this time it has fuel. So throughout the level you have to keep collecting fuel barrels. If you run out of fuel, you fall. Falling equals bottomless pit equals death. Though I think in the Super Nintendo version the track didn't fall, it would just stop and Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong would just give up. So yeah, this is the one level I got stuck at as a kid. Especially near the very end, where you just get just enough fuel to make it to the end, and if you miss even one of those fuel barrels, well, you're done. You're finished. I'm done! Done! Not doing it! Fuck it! I give up! So yeah, I can do this level without too much trouble nowadays, but oh, the memories. Not that I now think the level is easy, but I don't have too much trouble collecting the fuel at least. But I didn't like this kind of level in the previous world, why make it worse? You can also see that the fuel barrels have different dots on them, which will indicate how many fuel dots they will give. Though at the very end you get all kinds of fuel barrels with only one dot, so you'll see. I don't like this level. It's the final world. So the weird thing is, this is the first level of the final world, and all the levels after this one are a lot easier. Except with the final level, the final world. But for the rest, well, after clearing this level, all the other levels in this world are a breeze. Oh god, I'm about to run out of fuel. Don't fall. No, don't get in time, yes. PTSD. I don't like this level. I was horribly bored in the first one, and now I'm losing vocabulary. This level's making me lose my brain cells. It's terrible, don't buy. Worst game ever. It's just one level in the final level. Game is great. Just hate this level. I've said that like a million times at this point, but I still hate this level, and I will keep saying it until this level disappears from the world entirely. And ironically enough, I did this level fairly quickly. Usually I do a few practice runs of a level and fail and retakes, but this was like my second try at the level and I cleared it with ease, and I don't know why. Why? And then the last level in this world kicked my ass a few times. I don't like that level either, but we'll get to that when we'll get to that in like 10 minutes. First we have a bunch of levels that are kind of mediocre. They're not really hard or anything, they don't stick out, they're just there. I know I've said this before, but the factory level probably would have made a better final world, seeing how the difficulty there is a bit better spread out. And again, I don't hate any of those levels as much as I hate that one goddamn fuel level and the final level in this world. I know I keep saying that, but I'm repetitive like that. And the factory world is also a lot less gimmicky. I mean, there were still a lot of gimmicks, but those gimmicks weren't as game changing. Or I guess level changing would be a bit more appropriate. Like even Blackout Basement and Elevator Antics in the last world were gimmicky, but you were still platforming in all of them. In the fuel level in this world, you were just sort of waiting. Trying to survive while the level plays itself, essentially. And then there's the last level of this world, which, again, that's like the 5th time I've said that. You're platforming, but, you'll see. I'm not trying to build up that the last level is like the worst level ever, but, as a final level, I would have expected or wanted a lot more. But again, and I'm more so telling myself this, I should really save all the comments for the last level for the actual last level. Not the lost levels, that's a whole different playthrough. English, do I speak it? Man, some levels in this game just have bonus room after bonus room, and I'm telling ya, I'm starting to get sick of that bonus room music. Especially since I just hear the beginning all the time. Bonus room ends, next one. I'll never get sick of that jingle though. Even if you were to show me a 10-hour loop of that jingle, I will never grow the patience to sit through the whole thing. Next level, Misty Mine. It's a mine, and it's Misty! Yay! Also, those are enemies I didn't point out before, the barrels that respawn other enemies. So that's where they get all those mooks all the time. So mooks really are expendable. In fact, any moment now I'll expect a stormtrooper to pop out of one of those things. Other than the mook creation barrels and, well, the fact that it's misty, I guess, this level doesn't really have gimmicks. It's just another mining level like Stop and Go Station. Oh, and then we get to the next level and it's the exact same thing. I mean, I know they reuse graphics the whole time or level motifs, but one after another, that's pushing it. And in the next one, it's not even misty. Like it's like it's this bonus room. Also, this is the best bonus room ever because you can get all the Kong letters at once. Not that they actually do anything. My lives are maxed out and they don't count towards the 101% ending. So why am I collecting them? But we do get an espresso, so we can now skip things. And now I'm gonna leave him behind, go back for the TNT barrel, because animal bodies can't pick up barrels. Then again, with Rambi you never really need barrels, and with Angard, well, there are no barrels underwater anyway. But what I did right there is, well, so I can get to the bonus room and still keep my espresso. But now he's gone anyway, so pointless. Though he comes back after the bonus room, so I'm just gonna assume... Well, we already came to the conclusion earlier that Espresso has time travel. Look, there he is again. Where were you? Or better said, when were you? World War V, you say? So, what was the deal? Ah, I see. Wait, with the chickens or because of the chickens? Ah, never mind. I'll see you when... Wait, when did it happen? Oh, that's... Well, I might actually live to see that happen. There, I actually managed to bullshit my way through that entire level. They said I couldn't do it. Oh hey, it's Funky's Fishing. I don't visit it, but this is a pretty interesting Funky's Fishing to say the least. Instead of catching X amount of Y like the usual Funky's Fishing, in this one you have to score combos to keep the timer up. Once you make the timer complete, you'll win, and it's actually kinda challenging. I think it was also the one Funky's Fishing I really couldn't stand playing as a child. And now that we're on the subject of Funky's Fishing, I think you actually do have to complete all the Funky's Fishing and Candy Kong's Dance Studios in order to get the 101% ending. In the Game Boy Advance version at least, I'm assuming not in the Super Nintendo, seeing how Funky's Fishing and Candy Kong's Dance Studio didn't exist. The strange thing about this though is, because I cleared the levels in my normal playthrough, they actually carried over to my one player hero mode playthrough, so I didn't have to do them for this playthrough. Also, we're now introduced to, well, we're not introduced to, because we had them in like one bonus room in the previous world, but rat clam traps, they jump when you jump, and you can have fun with that. It can also be annoying, but once you know how they work, you can have fun with it. And the rat clam traps always jump at the same height, where you as a Kong can always decide how high you jump, depending on how long you press the jump button. Oh, and also, I really didn't notice it thus far, because this game is really second nature to me. There are also on and off barrels, like there were in Stop and Go Station to turn the lights on and off, though here there isn't really a reason to keep the lights on, because you can see everything just fine, where in Stop and Go Station you kinda needed it to survive the rocks, Rock'em-a-crock again. I'm assuming that in the Super Nintendo version the game would be a lot darker with the lights off, so you kinda needed it there. I'm assuming, because I played the Super Nintendo version a total of 1 times. I'm also gonna assume that in the Super Nintendo version the sprite color of Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong would become a lot darker, where in this version they don't. As you can assume by this bright as fucking yellow. Oh, and now we're about to get to the fun part. He lied. It's bees! bees everywhere. You know what? This should have been the final level of the game, seeing how avoiding those bees actually requires you to, well, master timing and master the control of this game, where in the final level, well, we're finally about to get up to that infamous final level, which is not really infamous. I've just been building it up as one, kind of unfairly, but because it's really not that bad, but well, we're about to get to it, aren't we? Because the final level to me should be the ultimate challenge, where everything you've learned thus far in the game will be put to the test. But instead, what we're about to get is a lot of really tiny and disappearing platforms with these fuckers on them. Unkillable crushas, except when you have a barrel, but not even Donkey Kong nor Diddy Kong can kill those bastards. Though in the one player hero run it might as well be a normal crusha, because Diddy Kong can kill those anyway. With exception of a barrel, of course. The problem with this, and well, we didn't see much of it thus far because the level only started like 10 seconds ago, and then we entered the bonus room, then we filled the bonus room. Well, we have these tiny platforms that move and disappear after a while. And in the later half they put enemies on them that you have to use the barrels for. First of all, you don't always have enough time to throw the barrel and then jump off the platform before you know that the enemy actually got hit by it. Also, it can be kind of a pain in the ass to aim the damn thing. So instead you might want to jump into the enemy while holding the barrel. But, well, first of all, that's not possible when playing as Donkey Kong, because he holds the barrels above his head. And second of all, when doing this as Diddy Kong, this can be really finicky. Because half the time you jump into the enemy, it dies, but for some reason you still bounce off of him, except he's already supposed to be dead, and then you fall into the bottomless pit. And while I don't mind difficult levels like this once in a while, because it's not the hardest level in existence or anything, it's certainly doable, but it's just too gimmicky to be the final level. In fact, for the final level I would have loved something that is actually hard, but not gimmicky. Because, for one, bottomless pit everywhere is kind of a really cheap way to add challenge to something. And half the time you need to know what's coming beforehand before you can react to it. So it's really trial and error heavy. And again, I wouldn't complain about it so much if this wasn't the final level. Everywhere else, actually, at least in this world, would have been fine. I don't think this really would have worked as the first level in the game. So disappointing, that's all I have to say for it. Not to say we end the game on a low note, because, well, this isn't the final boss. We do have a boss and a final boss, and the final boss is great, but I'll save that for the final boss. I'm just saying that we do end the game on a really high note. With exception of this level, of course. The rest of the game is great, it's super, it's awesome. You've heard me praise it before, so I don't feel like doing it again. So instead I'm gonna talk about the upcoming boss, because for the 10 millionth time in the Super Nintendo version, this was just another rematch with Necky, but this time we get 2 Neckys! If I can recommend a strategy for this boss, I say try to beat them simultaneously, because each turn you only get time to hit one of them. And because the purple one's invincibility goes away before the other ones, you're most likely gonna hit that one first. The thing though is, when you beat one of them, the other one starts to become harder and spit 4 coconuts in a row instead of just 1. So try to alternate between hitting each one of them, because that way you don't have to deal with the harder pattern for too long. Because then you only have to deal with like 1 turn of 4 coconuts in a row, and then you hit him once and then you beat the entire boss. Look, one of them is now dead and now the other one starts spitting 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you hit him. And to me, avoiding 4 coconuts in a row is just a lot harder than trying to avoid 2 coconuts coming from different directions. And as you saw during this boss, I did alternate between hitting the 2 heads, but I still defeated the purple one, which I think is like the normal one's grandfather or something. At least it says Master Necky Sr. I still hit the purple one a few more times than I hit the normal one, so I had to deal with 2 turns of 4 coconuts. I feel weird saying that. I do like that line Cranky Kong just had there. It's just like the old days. We're using a boss, changing its color, and pretending it's completely new, which actually makes more sense for the Super Nintendo version, because here it's actually a new boss. Sort of, it's half a new boss. But this video is already going on for way too long, so join me next part during the final boss of Let's Play Donkey Kong Country.